I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, January the 18th, brought to you in part by Beaver County Stockyards. There in Beaver, Oklahoma, on the eastern end of no man's land, right there in the Oklahoma Panhandle. Got a big sale here on Tuesday, got about 4,000 head. Talked to Jeff Slatton there on Monday, and he said it's going to be mostly yearlings. They've got light yearlings coming right off wheat there that have run out, and then got some heavy yearlings too. Said he had a string of 9-weight yearlings there to knock your eyes out. And then there'll be some fancy calf crops coming in too. But tell you what, Beaver County is really coming along there, and Jeff told me he's getting, several new, not just consignments, but several new load consignments every single week, and that market's growing. Got a good market there. They take good care of your cattle there, got nice facilities and good people to deal with. So check out Beaver County Stockyards. China bans cheering. Not kidding. You can't cheer in China, and we got the Olympics coming up here in 3 weeks. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Not even the competitors can cheer. So I guess you can clap with gloves on, but there'll be no yelling, no singing, or anything like that. No hollering at all. And even if you have a mask on or a astronaut globe around your head or anything. But I'm just glad to know that they're miserable over there too, since they gave the world that virus, and but they've been wearing masks over there for years. And whenever those Asian people travel, they when they live over there, they come over there all the time wearing masks. So they've been scared of fresh air for many years. But it just kind of goes to show you, and if you start thinking about it, how close are we getting to living in China or being under those same kind of rules? It seems like we're getting closer every single day. If you think, oh, it's not that bad here, just think if somebody told you 3 years ago that we would have to wear a mask to go inside of an airport, or in some states just to go indoors, some cities just to be out in public. Unbelievable. Some cities and some places you'd have to show a card that says you've gotten a shot or a series of shots that don't even work to keep you from getting it, just to show them that you've gotten it, just to go into a restaurant and sit down and eat. It's unbelievable that we've come this far down. If you'd have said, 3 years from now, if you'd have said this 3 years ago, there's going to be huge parking lots full of brand new pickups sitting around waiting on a computer chip, but you can't go and buy one at the dealership. You wouldn't believe it, and yet here we are. But you see how we're following in their footsteps. But be no cheering or yelling or singing or chanting or anything like that at the Winter Olympics whenever you go to China. So I don't think anybody's going to be there, and it doesn't sound like it's going to be much fun to watch on TV, which I never watched any of it anyway, except for the curling. Now I do get into the curling. That's a lot of fun. When I lived up in Missouri, we used to meet at a bar there in Maysville, Missouri, at my neighbor's bar. We'd watch the curling every time it come on, and we really got into it. And I would actually like to do that sometime. But talk about what else is going on around the country. Our boxed beef is spiking. I mean, sharply higher. Double-digit gains through the week last week. Big gains of over $3 just on Monday here. And so that's going up. Mr. Magoo said that they were going to straighten out this unbalance here between what the packers are making, what the producers are making. They had a 4-tier system. They're going to throw $1 billion at it and then guarantee loans on top of that. They were going to fix that. We've just seen the talk. We haven't seen anything really come out of it yet. But boxed beef is spiking. I wouldn't be surprised if we couldn't gain some dollar maybe here this week, just because of how much boxed beef has gone up. It seems like, at least here early in the week, this Omicron has started easing off a little bit. There were so many people sick the last couple of weeks and had a lot of people out at the packing plants, but talked to some of the guys that were speaking with the packers this week. They've changed their narrative up just a little bit. They knew that wasn't going to last forever, so it's starting to ease up, starting to get people back in the plants, and that's just on a holiday Monday. So it should get easier here in the Midwest anyways, but you know, I talked to a guy sending cattle out to Pacific Northwest, and they cut his amounts back because they weren't able to keep enough people in the plant, or so they say. But you know, it just seems like a hot spot here, and then it kind of fades out, and here, there, everywhere got a hot spot, and hopefully we'll get kind of back to normal here within a few weeks. But these feeder cattle are getting harder to hedge all the time, and with these feed costs going up every day, it's really getting tough. And then packers averaging, we saw that packers averaged a $600 a head profit last year. Wow, wouldn't you like to do that and not have to own them no more than 2 weeks? Be unbelievable. Not have to go out in the cold and feed them or anything like that. Never have to feed them at all. I mean, be unbelievable. But you know, it's just getting kind of tough out there. But hopefully we'll kind of get a little bit more in line with what's going on. Maybe we'll see something out of this White House administration with that big speech that they put on, that they're going to try to do something. Maybe our largest trade association, NCBA, will get behind this compromise bill that would put in minimum mandates for negotiated cash trade. They're going to do what they said they were going to do. The 75% of a robust market did not work. They hit plenty of their levels there that they can't go any far past. So now they've said that they are going to get behind a regulatory or legislative fix to try to get packers to do more negotiated trade. We've got this compromise bill right here. All of your Democrats that don't know anything about agriculture are ready to vote for it because the White House administration has endorsed it. Be really easy to get done, and they wouldn't get blamed for it either. But you know, with the higher ups up there making big money, you know, owning pieces of plants, and well, you know, entrenched into that corporate feeding system and the alternative marketing agreements and all that, who knows if they'll let it go through. I did notice that Baxter Black is in poor health. If you guys are like me and you've enjoyed reading and listening to Baxter Black, you know, for the last, you know, 30 plus years, I tell you what, he's been fun for us agriculture people and people that like Western preservation, and it's kind of a sad thing that we've heard that he's went into hospice, and then I heard that it's not typical hospice. They're just you know, where he's just right on death's bed, but he's sure not in good health, or they wouldn't have come out with anything. And we wish him the very, very best and hope that he's comfortable, and we appreciate everything he's done for us and for the industry. He's always been pro cattle, and we appreciate that. If you guys have watched some of his specials, my favorite one that I watched was one that he talked all about cowboy hats, and he had a jillion cowboy hats on this hat tree, and he pulled everyone down and showed told the story about the hat and the different ways to crease it and the kind of people that would wear them, and he did the whole show on that. And then right at the very end, he held up a ball cap. He said, "This is a cap, they're free." That was my favorite part. But we didn't have any futures market on Monday. It was a free Monday for your Monday feeder cattle sales because they didn't have to deal with the board, because it was Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, or at least the holiday that celebrates him. So didn't have that. So we go right into talking about your weighted average on last week's negotiated fat cattle trade in your 5-area feeding region, 50,400 head. That's about half what we consider to be, you know, fairly robust. So, you know, not selling near enough. The prior week we sold 39,000. So there's 2 weeks in a row of really light negotiated trade. You compare that to the same week a year ago when we had 83,700 head. But I think these packers are going to be a little bit short bought. They do need a few cash cattle to fill in around the edges, especially your smaller regional packers. So they're going to be fairly short bought, and this is the second week in a row that they haven't bought, or actually they haven't bought a whole lot of cattle for the 2 to 4 week delivery here for several weeks. So you know, they're not going to have a lot of those cattle stacked up ready. Of course, you know, they always get plenty of those negotiated grids and formula cattle to fill most of their needs. But if we can get back up to a full slaughter rate, then they're going to need some cattle this week, and we hope we can at least hold the market steady, and hopefully we can gain a buck or two. But last week's live sales, steers and heifers, ranged from 134 to 139, mostly 136 to 137. 136 in the south, 137 in the north, but we did have some late sales in the south at 135. And so, you know, it wasn't a very active market last week. Weighted average on live steers last week was 136.61. That's a $1.80 lower than the weighted average on live steers the week before. But mostly $2 lower. Dress sales, steers and heifers, from 217 to almost entirely 218. And it's unbelievable that you could have all the cattle dressed bring the same price. That gives you an idea how much negotiation is in the negotiated grid, because nearly all your negotiated grid is on a dress basis, of course. So if we didn't have any negotiated grid on the pure negotiated cash sales on a dress basis, would you think there'd be any negotiation in the grid? Of course not. There's not any negotiation in that negotiated grid. It's, you know, take it or leave it, guys. But it makes it sound good whenever they can turn in thousands of those every week, and it continues to grow, and that'll be the way that they try to get around any of those negotiated mandates. But we at least got to throw the hurdle out in front of them, guys. Your weighted average for last week on dress steers, 217.99. That's how close it was to 218. It's almost all 218, and that 217.99 was a $1.99 lower. So $2 lower dressed, and mostly $2 lower on a live basis. Nationwide, we sold 61,200 head pure negotiated cash, and that's not near enough. That compares to 48,000 the week before, 96,000 the same week a year ago. But we had formula sales last week of 267,300 head. Wonder why we don't have any negotiated sales. Negotiated grid, which I just explained to you how much negotiation was going on there, 28,200 head. But of the 61,200 pure negotiated cash, about 25.5%, which is not a whole lot, were for the 15 to 30 day delivery. So they don't have a lot of those cattle stacked up, set ready to set the market up. So you would think they would have to come in here and buy some cattle. So we'll see what the board does as we start trading on the board this week. But there was a little bit of 218 on Monday up in Iowa, and maybe a little bit in Nebraska that didn't actually get confirmed, but I heard that it happened, so I'll go for that. But getting 218 on a Monday, steady money, that doesn't sound too bad on a little bit of negotiated dress trade there, and I would hope that we could at least keep steady money on live cash sales also. Box beef cutout values, like I said earlier, were dollars higher. Choice cuts 287.86, up 355 compared to Friday's sales. Select up 308 on a Monday at 277.05. Slaughter for a holiday Monday, not too bad, 113,000. So if we can get that back up closer to 120 or above that every day the rest of this week, it'd be a pretty good deal. What else is going on? We haven't checked in with Ellis and Carter Cattle Company there for quite a while, and I'm always talking to you guys about these nosebleed prices, these big sales all over, and selling the highest, fanciest cattle in the country. And once in a while, I like to tell you guys what you can buy some cattle, put together cattle for, from an order buying outfit that will ship you these cattle. and some cattle that might make some money. Some cattle that you can get bought with not too many dollars. And, of course, it's going to be a little bit of work to get those straightened up. But this late in the year, it's not nearly as bad as it is late in the summer or in the early fall. So you can probably get that done pretty easy. So if you've got something to feed them and you want to get some light cattle in and get them warmed up for grass, you can call EC Cattle Company, EllisonCarterCattle.com there, and get a hold of him. Most of these will be delivered prices, so I'll tell you the ones that aren't. But steers and bulls you can get out of Santo, Texas, which is just there west of Weatherford. Steers and bulls, they had a load. This is loads that he shipped over the weekend. Had a load weighed 380 pounds at 173 and a quarter. Sounds pretty cheap, and they were all blacks and Charolais, guys. Load weighed 425 at 167. Had a load of blacks and Charolais weighing 555 at 139.50. Now that was an FOB price there, 139 and a half weighing 555. Another load of steers and bulls weighed 595 on the plainer end. Now the ones I've been giving you, be sure good enough to go anywhere. But on some plainer cattle, and some of them be carrying a little bit of ear, just a tick, weighing 595 at 122. Gosh dang, that sure sounds cheap when people are paying $222 for them. 725 pound load of yearling steers off EC Cattle Company at 149 delivered. And that'd be delivered to the Texas Panhandle or up into Oklahoma. And it's going to waver just a little bit, but that's a pretty good idea. How about some heifers? 420 pound load, 147.75 delivered. Load weight 4 1/4 that was fancy at 148 1/4, good enough to go anywhere. 480 pound load of heifers, replacement quality, $150. Load weight 585, FOB blacks and Charolais at 136. How about a 620 pound load, replacement quality at 143 and a half. Load weight 640 pounds, plainer end at 130. And then some 750 pound yearling heifers at 122.50 delivered. So if you're interested in that, go to EllisonCarterCattle.com. Talk about your feeder cattle market to start out the week on Monday. Your real-time index on DV auction was 160.01. So right there teetering. That's based on an 800 pound steer up through the middle 12 states, just like your CME Cash feeder cattle index. But it's up to date, and that's through Monday's sales. That was up 35 cents from last week, so did have a little bit of higher markets to start the week out without the board to mess it up. Lone Star Stockyards out in Wildorado, Texas, they've got a good run here on Tuesday, so if you're interested in that, they've got some cattle coming in right off wheat, condition be right, be some of those cattle coming in off of just some cake and what little dry grass is out there. But you can go on to dvauction.com to Lone Star Stockyards, view and bid that sale. You'll need to call into the office there at Lone Star to get approved for bidding if you'd like to do that on Tuesday, here today. How about some sales on Monday? Oklahoma City, Oklahoma National Stockyards, another big run for them. 15,500 head there in the city. Feeders sold mostly steady to $2 higher, which was pretty good. Calves sold steady as reported by Federal State Market News Service. Stick out deal that I saw come through National's automatic wire there through Cattle Market Central. National Livestock Commission sold 79 head, 520 pound steers in Oklahoma City at $212 1/4. Now they were marked thin on the market report. They would have had to have been awfully thin for that, but sounds like a pretty big price right there in central Oklahoma. How about Joplin Regional Stockyards? They underestimated. They were only calling for about 5,000 cattle, ended up with 6,500. Steers were steady. Heifers sold quite a bit higher, $2 to $5, maybe $7 higher in spots. And people are judging by price more than just exactly what they want. Anytime you see the heifers with a higher trend than what your steers are. How about Russell, Iowa? Russell Livestock, 4,000 head for them on Monday. Steers there steady to $7 higher. Heifers run evenly steady, to $4 lower. I'm more particular up in that part of the country. Those farmer feeders there, they like exactly what they like, and you can't convince them of anything else. How about the stick out deal there in Russell? 52 head, 616 pound fancy steer calves at $186.75. Big time quote from Russell, Iowa. How about a few other big quotes? How about Aberdeen livestock sales out in Aberdeen, South Dakota? 67 head, 897 or 900 pound yearling steers at $161.25. Can't get that for 8 weights most places. But the best quote that I saw anywhere, your National Beef Wire, top quote for the day, come out of Elgin Livestock Sales, Baum family there. Really good sale on Monday. Stick out deal I saw from Elgin, Nebraska, 66 head, 771 pound steers at $176. And that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.